everybody, it's Gypsy, and welcome to On the Edge of Appalachia. Today is Sunday, June 15th, 2025, and I am on my way to the flea market. Next weekend is the last weekend for this vending season. It's hard to believe. I mean, this vending season went by so fast. It's funny, I need the break, and this happened to me last year. By the time we got to the end of the season, I needed like a break from vending and all that, and I enjoyed it. But I'd say like halfway through the break, I was very ready to go back. I could not wait to go back to vending. For some reason, even if I don't do well, I love vending. I think because vendors were like kind of like a family. We're a unique breed. We're different. And then, all the people, including the customers, everybody I interact with there is very down to earth, unpretentious. I only had one incident where somebody was pretentious, and I looked at the woman vending next to me and I said, I don't think she realizes that she's shopping in a dairy barn. And it is, we're literally, the indoor vendors are in a dairy barn. Anyways, just wanted to talk about last night. Oh, wow. I remember as a kid, summers were like really special. You just had that really special feeling. And, you lose that as an adult. But 4th of July was just, it was different when I was a kid. It was fun. It was a big deal. And just another holiday. It was like a strong enough feeling like Christmas. Except, it was a different type of holiday. But it was a big deal, and you could feel the patriotism everywhere. And whoops, we got deer. Anybody else? Oh, excuse me. Go on, little one. I don't want. Sometimes they'll get scared and run back into the road. Where's your family? Go on, baby. There we go. I hope that you find their family. Anyways, we lost that. But, and you know what? For a long time, I'd say 2015, up until just recently, I just felt like there was nothing to celebrate, which is sad. Because as Americans, we actually do have a lot to celebrate, but the way things have been, I just wasn't feeling it. And I was angry to the point. Now, my younger son, he was a teenager at the time. It was after my older son died, so he had been an older teen. And he said to me, Mom, you're not patriotic. You don't love our country. I said, oh, quite the opposite, honey. I said, I am so patriotic. I love our country so much that I am that angry about what is going on. Because at that time, especially like, all right, my immediate family, like my son and his dad and stuff, didn't see what I was seeing with the deep state, the powers that be. And I knew our government was so corrupt. And what they were doing, destroying our country, destroying our citizens, etc. Oh my God. We were nothing but slaves, little ant workers. And, right now we still are, but we're changing it. I was so angry that sometimes I would sit there and cry over what had happened to our country. And I couldn't handle it. And even when I explained this to my son, I had tears in my eyes because I do love my country that much. And I think I get my love of my country from my immigrant grandmother. She came here, she was in her early teens. My whole family came over here. My family, you know, we have a little complicated heritage, but my grandmother came from Chile. She was born in a little town called Viña del Mar, which now is a tourist town. When my family was there, it was not. Anyways, when she came through Ellis Island. Now, I didn't realize when I was a little girl that my grandmother was an immigrant. And when I did learn, I think I was in my early teens. And oh my God, I just had so many questions because I've always been fascinated with other cultures, other countries. I just find, things that are different fascinating, and I want to learn about it. And I would sit down with my grandmother and ask her all kinds of questions. And I asked her, I said, what was it like when you got here? When you came through Ellis Island, what was it like? And she said, it was a long, tedious process. I believe she told me they were quarantined. My family was quarantined, as everyone was at that time, for a couple weeks. They didn't just, let you come in and say, okay, be on your way, go to Cleveland or Milwaukee, whichever one. Because that's, my family. There's the Cleveland Correos. It's my mom's side of the family. The Cleveland Correos and the Milwaukee Correos. We're all one family, though. But anyways, she talked about that. But here's where I think I got my love of country. My grandmother, it took her a long time to get her citizenship. Because my grandmother, oh my God, you want to talk about an intelligent woman. I would estimate, it's hard to tell with our family, but she spoke 3 languages. English, she learned that really quick, barely had an accent, but leave it to my father, her son-in-law, to find the very few words that she still had an accent with, and, make fun of her. Anyways, she once told me, well, she said it took her a long time because as intelligent as my grandmother was, she was afraid she wouldn't do well on the test, that she would fail, and that she would not become a citizen. And it was very important to her to get her citizenship. So it took a very long time. And she said, immigrants who become national, who get their citizenship, know more about the history of this country and its government the native-born Americans, because it is such a rigorous process. The test is difficult, and you have to know this stuff. Now, here is what she said, I think that really changed my perspective on where I live and what I have. She said, I will always love the country I was born in. I will always love Chile. But this is my country now. I'm grateful to be here. And this is my country, and I love this country. And she believed in, my great uncle, he had more trouble assimilating. Decades after they got here, he still had a very thick, now he was born in Sicily, very, very thick Sicilian accent. Really, I don't know that my Uncle Jake ever really kind of accepted being American. Not accepted, but he just had trouble adjusting. And my grandmother, oh my gosh, I would remember her telling him, Jake, we've been here how long, and you still have that accent, and you're not. She says, when you move to a new country, you assimilate. Now, my grandmother never believed. She said, we don't have to give up our customs from the old country, and our family didn't until recently. I mean, I think that just happens naturally. But you have to assimilate if you're going to live there. If you're going to become a citizen and it's your country, you assimilate. So my grandmother's love for the United States when she was born in another country really, really changed my perspective. So that is why I was so upset and crying. And I also remember when I was a teenager, I told my grandmother, I want to go to Chile. I want to see where you were born. I want to see where our family's property was, which it was along the ocean on a beach, she told me. And she would ride her horse on the beach. But anyways, she says, oh, no. You can't go now. It's really bad there. She said, this really bad man, his name is Pinochet. You can't go there. It's not safe. And I thought, how sad. But as I became an adult, I started to see, well, that kind of stuff happening here. Okay? They're just trying, Anyways, not that it was totally like Chile or someplace else, but it was getting there. You see the signs. Anyways, my point being is that last night was beautiful. Having a parade and fireworks. Never during my life was there anything on June 14th. I didn't even know the Army began on June 14th. Now, I don't like war. I hate war. I don't believe in war. And I would love someday for humanity to give up war. However, humanity is not yet that spiritually advanced, and you have to be a realist. You have to be able to protect your family and your home, protect your country. You have to. Okay, and yes, I know our history, but you know what? Our history isn't any different than all the other histories of other countries. As long as humanity has existed, people overtake other places. Okay, it's always happened. I think as a country in humanity, we need to start celebrating how far we've come and our accomplishments. Put the past behind us. We must acknowledge, yes, that happened, and it was horrible, and it was sad, but it happened, and it was a long time ago. And although we weren't there, we didn't do it, we must acknowledge it and move on. Look how far we have come. Look at our advancements, especially spiritually, humanitarian-wise. And I think our military does deserve that recognition. Because I don't know, I still wouldn't want to be under the rule of the King and Queen of England, and they were oppressive. However, the sad part was America lost its way at some point and was becoming just as oppressive and doing the same things that we fought to be free from. But I think now we have gotten to that point, regardless of what side you're on, that we notice we are going in the wrong direction. And I think celebrating yesterday and thanking our army for, first of all, freeing us from England, and for everything they've done since and do now is a wonderful thing. To celebrate our nation and the beauty of our country. I was a nomad, and I traveled in my truck, a travel trailer, and I camped everywhere. And most of the time it was out in the wilderness. I did not camp at campgrounds. I roughed it. It was off-grid. boondocks, whatever you want to call it. I was out there in the middle of nowhere. And I would meet different people, see different things. And our country is so diverse, you know, well, even with people and the landscape, everything. And it's so beautiful. And it is worth celebrating. And I would go out and I met the most wonderful people. That's worth celebrating. Our accomplishments are worth celebrating. Yes, there are people who can't be nice, let's say. Okay, so that is the reason, unfortunately, we still need law enforcement of every type. I believe in policing our own communities, but we also need, like, well, the army. But anyways, it just felt good. I felt like I did when I was a child, and I had that patriotic feeling. And oh, the whole thing was so beautiful. I just really enjoyed it. And I'm really glad I took the time to sit down and watch it. So anyways, I mean, the flags, the pictures of the flag that you see is in our yard. Our son and daughter, thankfully, the other day, I've been asking to have the flag put up for, I don't know, about a year. We didn't have any place to put it, so they made a flagpole. And they put it in the yard, and with a floodlight. I took a picture of it, and I thought it came out beautiful. So that is my own photograph from our yard. Thanks to my son and daughter-in-law for getting it up there. So, anyways, I don't know. I just loved it. I really enjoyed last night. It's like I forgot about the problems of the world. Just like I did when I was a kid. And just enjoyed it. Focused on the good things. Focused on what I am grateful for. Not just to be an American, but for everything. Because maybe we need to try more of that. Find one thing, just one thing you're grateful for, and focus on that. You'll find it will start changing your life, and it'll be easier and easier to find more things to be grateful for, instead of always seeing the bad in life and having a funja face all the time, which means a grumpy face, like being a sourpuss all the time. The direct translation is a mushroom face, or I'm in trouble going back and forth. Fungi face, yeah. Because like mushrooms kind of wrinkled up sometimes. So sometimes you just got to get out of that bad mood. Put the terrible things of this world aside and focus on something like that. So anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. Happy Flag Day. Oh, pretty soon we have Independence Day. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.